Japan is making a statement, and it is a bold and daring one. With this country's continuous advancement in its technological endeavors, a move that has not only made it a formidable rival but has also terrified its enemies. It definitely has a lot of surprises under its sleeves. This country just revealed its latest submarine fleet, and its sheer size has taken the world by surprise as well as apprehension. While some have several questions like, is this submarine different from the regular ones? Does it have any unique features that would make it stand out? Join us as we unveil the mind-blowing features of the new Japanese nuclear submarine that has terrified China and the US. The 29 SS or Taigei, which means the big whale in Japanese, is the newest addition to Japan's military collection. This formidable carrier boasts 7 other submarines in its fleet, and surprisingly, the fleets are named after large fish that dominate the large expanse of water bodies. For instance, the second boat, which is referred to as Hakuge, as in the white whale. Then there is the third fleet, which is also named after the fastest whale, Jingai. This submarine's project name, 29SS, is not just a combination of numbers and alphabet. Just as interesting as the fleet's names are, this project name also denotes something quite significant. The number 29 comes from the year of Emperor Akihito's reign, which marked the period when Japan decided to build these powerful carriers, while SS is the international abbreviation for non-nuclear multi-purpose submarines. This non-nuclear submarine was accepted into the Navy on the 9th of March, 2022. It is a diesel-electric submarine of a new type and also the first in its series. If you are wondering why Japan's submarine is not a nuclear weapon, or if it has any nuclear weapons in its possession, your curiosity has been rightly piqued. It is important to note that ever since the bombing of Hiroshima and Nagasaki and the massive destruction that it left in its wake, Japan has been a staunch upholder of anti-nuclear sentiments. Its post-war constitution prohibits the development of offensive military forces, and to make its stance known, it adopted the 3 non-nuclear principles in 1967. These 3 principles rule out the production, possession, and introduction of nuclear weapons. Back to the features and capabilities of this powerful carrier that would be used to replace the outdated submarines in the future. This new carrier boasts a modern system and a combination of ideas that were previously considered obsolete. While that sounds weird and would make you wonder why Japan has resorted to something archaic, this obsolete idea is the use of an air-dependent Stirling engine. Stirling engine is an external combustion engine and is very different from the internal combustion engine that can be found in other renowned submarines. The difference in these engines is that the working body is in the cylinder and does not require fuel, but instead receives heat from outside, which makes it expand and push the cylinder piston. The anaerobic Stirling engine allows more freedom of action for the submarine than the diesel-electric scheme. But such an engine has one major disadvantage. It makes more noise, and this feature has reduced its ability to be stealthy. The Taigei-class submarines have a similar hull design to the Soryu class, but are a bit heavier by 100 tons. They are more advanced with newer gear like sonar systems and a snorkel power generation system. They'll also use lithium-ion batteries, like the JS Oryu and JS Toryu submarines. Plus, they'll use the Type 18 torpedo, an upgraded version of the Type 89 torpedo. These lithium-ion batteries are superior to traditional and regular lead-acid batteries. However, these batteries come with a disadvantage. First of all, it is extremely expensive to purchase, and also, these batteries emit heat during charging and discharging. And in the event of a violation of operating modes, it can emit toxic vapor. All this places special demands on the equipment of battery pits, on which the survivability and stability of the ship and the lives of its crew depend. The new Taig submarine is similar to the 2 previous diesel-electric submarines of the Soryu type in its external shape and layout, but has a larger displacement. The Soryu-class submarines are attack submarines that use diesel and electricity. The first one started working for the Japan Maritime Self-Defense Force in 2009. Their design is based on the Oyashio-class submarine. But you can tell them apart by their X-shaped back fins for diving and steering. They're the biggest submariners Japan has used since the war. It can move without needing air and is equipped with engines made by Kawasaki Heavy Industries that give them the ability to stay underwater for longer. The 11th one, called Oryu, is the first submarine in the world to use lithium-ion batteries. The 6th submarine, Kokuryu, was expected to cost around $550 million. The attack submarines of this type have a displacement of 2,900 tons when surfaced and 4,200 tons when submerged. They measure 84 meters in length, 9.1 meters in width, and 8.5 meters in draft. Their propulsion system includes two Kawasaki 12V25 by 25 SB-type diesel engines when surfaced, and four Kawasaki Kockums V4275 R Stirling engines for submerged operations. With a power of 3,900 horsepower surfaced and 8,000 horsepower submerged, they can reach speeds of 13 knots on the surface and 20 knots underwater. Their range, estimated at 6,100 nautical miles at a speed of 6.5 knots, is enhanced by their air-independent propulsion system. These submarines have a crew of 65, including 9 officers and 56 enlisted personnel. They are equipped with various sensors and processing systems, electronic warfare and decoys, as well as armament, including torpedo tubes and mines. That's enough information about the predecessor. Let's move on to the carrier in the spotlight. In terms of size, the Taige carrier is 84 meters long and 9.1 meters wide, with a surface displacement of 3,000 tons. Its underwater displacement is about 4.2 to 4.3 thousand tons. It uses a streamlined hull, and this is one of the features that makes it different from the Soryu. Also, there is a modified deckhouse fence with horizontal rudders. The stern planes are made according to the X-shaped scheme. One propeller is used as a propulsion system. It's noteworthy that when the concept of boats in the Taige series was still under consideration, they talked about water jet propulsion as more silent than a propeller. New radio-electronic means of reconnaissance and communication were developed for the carrier, as well as a new generation hydroacoustic station based on fiber optic arrays. This technology stands to improve the carrier's ability to detect and track underwater targets. In addition to the new technology equipped on the Taige, a new combat information and control system was created for additional noise reduction. Its armament consists of 4 bow torpedo tubes of 533 mm caliber, and the carrier will be able to use the torpedoes in service, including the newly created models. The torpedo tubes will also be used to launch American Harpoon anti-ship cruise missiles with a range of about 140 miles. There's also a torpedo countermeasure system that works by throwing out decoys to evade enemy strikes. The ship's crew consists of 70 people, and for their comfort, the carrier is designed with comfortable living and service conditions, even though the carrier is automated, which has automatically reduced the number of crews required for the efficient operation of the ship. It has been observed that the need for female submariners was taken into account during the construction of the submarine. The first submarine was laid down on March 2018 and launched on October 14, 2020. Later on, it became fully operational and was accepted for service on March 9, 2022. Interestingly, this carrier had a fairly high cost, and its construction cost is about $710 million. Its predecessor, the serial submarine Soryu, cost less than $490 million, and their diesel-electric modification cost $608 million. The installation of expensive lithium-ion batteries and new electronics had an impact on its cost. Moving forward, in January 2019, Mitsubishi Heavy Industries laid down the second submarine, Hakuge, at its Mitsubishi Heavy Industries plant and launched it in October 2021. It is scheduled to be delivered to the Navy in 2023. The third submarine of this type, Jengai, was laid down in April 2020 and was also launched in October 2020, just 7 months later. It is scheduled to be handed over to the Japanese Navy in March 2024. The construction schedule of the next 4 ships is still unknown. It can be assumed that shipbuilders and the military plan to reach a high rate of construction with the annual delivery of finished ships. In that case, the 7th planned submarine will begin service in 2027. After digging into the intriguing capabilities of the Japanese new submarine fleet, one question comes to mind. Can this carrier be compared to the renowned and most powerful carrier in the history of submarines, the USS Gerald R. Ford? Well, there's only one way to answer that. This formidable development, which can also be referred to as the CVN-78, is an extremely big carrier that has the capacity to carry fighter jets and other aircraft for the United States. To be straightforward, this submarine is truly one of a kind. As it is popularly known, this ship is named after the 38th President of the United States, who served during the Second World War. This carrier weighs about 100,000 tons when fully loaded. It also measures between 1,092 feet and 1,106 feet in length, on 34 feet in width at the waterline, and 256 feet on the flight deck. With a height of 250 feet, it has 25 decks and is powered by 2 Bechtel A1B PWR nuclear reactors, which enable it to reach a maximum speed of over 30 knots. One interesting fact is that it can operate for about 25 years before needing to be refueled, and it can accommodate over 4,539 crew members, including in the air wing. It is also equipped with advanced sensors and processing systems. The USS Gerald possessed a lot of armament to protect itself, which included a variety of surface-to-air missiles and guns. In terms of capacity, it surpasses the Teige because it can accommodate over 75 aircraft on its flight deck, which is quite large and measures 1,092 feet by 256 feet. The construction of this powerful carrier started on August 11, 2005 with a special ceremony that was held by Northrop Grumman, a weapon company in the United States. During this ceremony, they cut a 15-ton steel plate from one side of the carrier and then laid down the rest of the carrier on November 13, 2009. It was eventually christened on November 9, 2013. It joined the Navy to replace its predecessor, the USS Enterprise, also known as the CVN-65, which retired after 51 years of service on December 2012. The USS Gerald went on its first mission on October 4, 2022, and guess what? It still remains the world's largest warship that has ever been developed. Apart from being known as the largest warship ever created, the Gerald R. Ford boasts several advanced features, like the arresting gear for landing aircraft, automation that has drastically reduced the need for hundreds of crew members compared to the Nimitz-class carrier. It is also equipped with an updated RIM-162 Evolved Sea Sparrow missile and a dual-band radar that is composed of an AN/SPI-3 X-band multifunction radar and AN/SPI-4 S-band volume search radar. The electromagnetic aircraft launch system was used to replace the traditional steam catapults for launching aircraft, and a new nuclear reactor design, the A1B reactor, enhances and improves the generation of power. Additionally, stealth features have been incorporated to reduce radar visibility. Another feature that surpasses that of the Teige is the Gerald's ability to carry up to 90 aircraft, including various types such as the Boeing FA-18EF, Boeing EA-18G Growler, Grumman E-2, Hawkeye, Lockheed Martin F-35, Sea Lightning II, Sikorsky SH-60 Seahawk helicopters, and unmanned combat aerial vehicles. The major difference between the Gerald R. Ford class carrier compared to the older versions is that the island, which is the big structure on the ship, is further back. These new carriers would also cost less to operate over their lifetimes because they need fewer members to keep them running. Gerald R. Ford can handle 160 flights a day for more than 30 days and can also handle a sudden increase to 270 flights a day if the need arises. However, experts like Michael Gilmore believe that having rates like the older Nititz class carrier, which could handle about 120-140 flights a day, is definitely more realistic than Gerald's claimed capacity. On the Nimitz class carriers, the fourth catapult can't launch aircraft when they're fully loaded because of the lack of enough space for their wings at the edge of the flight deck. They've also made it faster and easier to move weapons from storage to the planes on the deck. They use new elevators that can carry more and move faster, powered by linear motors. These elevators are placed so that the weapons don't get in the way of the aircraft, reducing traffic jams in the hangars and on the deck. Rear Admiral Dennis M. Dwyer mentioned in 2008 that these changes could potentially let them reload the planes in just a few minutes instead of hours. Let's go ahead to the Chinese most revered carrier, the Type O-94. The Type O-94, also known as the Jin class, is a group of nuclear submarines with ballistic missiles made by China for its Navy submarine force. It comes after the Type O-92 submarine and comes before the Type O-96 submarine, which is still being worked on. It was built by Bohai Shipyard in Huludao, China, and operated by the People's Liberation Army Navy. Each unit costs around $750 million and has been in service since 2007. The Navy plans to have 8 submarines, and currently 6 have been completed and are active. These submarines are ballistic missile types, weighing 11,000 tons when submerged, with a length of 137 meters and a beam of 11.8 meters. They are powered by nuclear propulsion and have a crew of 140 members. Armed with 12 JL-2 or JL-3 submarine-launched ballistic missiles, they have unlimited range. Zhang Jinlin was the main designer of the Type O-94 submarine, which is probably based on the Type O-93 attack submarine. One of these submarines was seen in late 2006 at the Xiaopingdao submarine base, and the first one was put into service in 2007. By 2020, 6 of them were active, and they began doing patrols for nuclear deterrence in December 2015. According to the United States Department of Defense, it is China's first reliable nuclear weapon for use at sea. Initially, they had 12 JL-2 missiles with 1 warhead each, capable of reaching parts of Alaska when launched from near China. But by late 2022, they were equipped with JL-3 missiles, which can reach the continental United States from the South China Sea, with reported ranges exceeding 10,000 kilometers. It is a modified version with a better sail, resembling features from a modified Type O-93. Similar to the Taegay, this submarine is considered louder than the other carriers of its time. A Chinese researcher mentioned that the carrier made a sound as loud as 120 decibels, which is similar to the noise level of a Los Angeles-class submarine. In 2009, the United States Navy's Office of Naval Intelligence reported that the Type O-94 was larger than Russian carriers that were developed in the late 1970s. In 2015, Australian researchers Brendan Tomans and Rory Medcald mentioned that because of its loudness and the limited range of its JL-2 missiles, the submarine might not be very effective in attacking the United States. Now, let us move on to another nation that possesses another renowned and formidable submarine, Russia. Russia's Yasen class, also known as Project 885 and Project 885M, or even Grainy class, are powerful, nuclear-powered submarines that were developed for Russia's Navy. They were designed by the Malakit Marine Engineering Bureau and built by Sevmesh. The design work started in the 1980s, and the first submarine was built in the 1990s and into the early 2010s. It eventually became operational in 2013. In 2021, 2 more submarines were based on the upgraded Yasen-M designs, and 6 more are being built. These submarines were developed to replace the older Soviet-era nuclear attack submarines. The nuclear cruise missile submarine, with a displacement of 8,600 tons when surfaced and 13,800 tons when submerged, has a length of 132.9 meters for the Yasen version and 130 meters for the Yasen-M version, with a beam of 13 meters. It is powered by an OK650 kpm pressurized water reactor and turbines generating 43,000 megawatts. Also, it can reach maximum speeds of 20 knots on the surface, 28 knots silently submerged, and up to 35 knots at maximum submerged speed. With an unlimited range and endurance limited only by food and maintenance needs, it has a safe depth of 1,475 feet, a never-exceed depth of 1,800 feet, and a crush depth of 2,160 feet. The crew complement for Yasen is 85 and 64 for Yasen-M. In addition, the Yasen is equipped with sensors and processing systems such as the RIM-HAT, ESM-ECM Snoop Pair Surface Search Radar. The equipment included on the carrier includes a vertical launch system equipped with silos for 32 Onyx or Caliber anti-ship cruise missiles, 10 torpedo tubes with Kotliar heavyweight torpedoes, Igla-M surface-to-air missiles, and Zircon hypersonic cruise missiles. Such a terrific combination of ammunitions. Which of these formidable and powerful carriers do you think possesses the most advanced capabilities and unrivaled features? Thanks for watching. While you are still here, click on the link on your screen to check out another of our videos. See you there.